Hi guys, I'm Andy and I'm here to bring you all things mundane and makeup related. If that's your vibe, I'd love it if you would subscribe to be part of my little slice of the internet. And in today's video, I am bringing you the repressing of my Nomad Verona Amore Morte, the only time I'm going to say it that way, the Love and Death palette Shimmers. So if you want to see how I did that and everything and my discussion and all of that, let's just go ahead and get into it. The first part of this is going to be overhead style, and then we're going to get into me like this. So let's go ahead and jump in. Hello, we are hands today. So this is the video you have all been waiting for. It was the video requested by How I Met Helen because we are repressing these shimmers in the Nomad Verona Amore Morte palette. That's the only time I'm going to say this. It's the Nomad Love and Death palette. I hate saying that name. But originally, I was only going to repress the shimmers on this pink side because I do think the shimmers on the Death side are better. But I'm just going to repress all 6 shimmers. That is what we're going to do. But we're going to start with the pink side. These shimmers are much, much worse. So we're just going to go for it. Let me get out some alcohol because I do have where do I keep it? I had to think about it. So now I'm first going to try to repress these with alcohol. If that does not work, I might try to repress these with like Duraline. So if that does not work, then they will be a wash and they will get cut out of the palette, honestly, because I'm not using the shimmers currently. So if it doesn't work, then it's not a loss to me. So we're just gonna start. I'm just making sure you guys can see. We are just gonna, because I'm gonna try to just keep this in the pan. What's crazy is right now breaking this up, it feels so squishy, and that's wild. So I don't normally do frankening, repressing, this kind of content. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, if I don't prefer this, I will completely remove them and try again and all of that. But like for today's purposes, I want to just try to keep it contained, keep it in here. That's what I'm thinking. That's wild to me how creamy this feels. So I'm going to add just a couple drops and I'm going to go ahead and get it all over myself. We're going to just, maybe I should use a silicone spatula for this part. First, I'm just going to try to get it all back in there before we repress it down. And then I will clean it up, but I just want to try to. All right, goopy goop. We're in. And now let me get something to repress it with. All right, so this fits over it perfectly. So we're just gonna lightly press it on in there. Oh, shit. I didn't think about that. Okay. Well. Alright. Let me see here. Ah! Well, I'm definitely going to be losing some of the product on this. It's still kind of crumbly, to be honest. Let me see. Alright, I think that that's as good as we're getting. I got it everywhere. All I did was take a wet wipe and just press it down with my finger. That's all I ended up doing. Obviously, we're going to have to take time to let that dry and see how these come out. I honestly might do this pink side before I do the other side and see how that goes. But we're going to go into this one. God, it is so wild. They feel so wet. Because they really are beautiful shades. It just... they didn't perform that way. So now, let's get all his little buddies back into the pan. Okay, we got all his buddies back, and now I think that that's as good as we're getting with that one. And then let's just there. That wasn't as bad. I'm getting pink and red everywhere, but not as bad. Let me get out another wipe. Really didn't want to use up my wipes this way, but you know, 'tis fine. And last but not least, we have this top shade. And then of course I'm going to let these dry. And then I'll come back in the video and show you guys how they held up. But for you guys, it'll be movie magic. For me, it's going to be a hot minute. So now let's get everybody back in the party. Alright, why does this one have to make a mess of the palette? Because that makes me so irate. And, like, I know I'm gonna be able to clean it, but still. Okay. Oh, wow. Alright, that did not work with this one. Let's see, can I just... God, this shade. Horrid, terrible. So, that's what we're looking like right now. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to clean up my mess. I'm covered in pink and red. For you guys, like I said, it'll be movie magic. For me, it'll probably be a day or two. And I will come back and show you, we'll swatch and everything. You will have already seen the overhead style of me repressing the Love Side Shimmers. So, I did those with alcohol. And this is how they came out. Now we will go ahead and swatch them, but I will bring you up close and personal. I do think overall they do still look pretty hard pressed, but they feel better on the finger. So this is the shade Cupid, and that's just one swatch in the pan, and it looks better on the finger, but where is it? So let's try again. There is 2 swatches. You can see it a little bit. So again, in my original look, I had to do 7 to 9 layers. And I'm not exaggerating that. That is legitimately how many layers. So we're still not really seeing the shade on the hand. All I'm seeing in person are some light pink glitters. Like, I'm seeing it on the finger, which again is what happened originally, but if I pat it on instead, again, I'm just still seeing glitters on the hand. You can see it a little bit. So it's better. It is better, but it's still not good. Next we have the shade Romeo, which looks like this. So there's one layer. You can actually see it, which is promising. And now we got 2 layers, which, like, that would be acceptable. But in my opinion, it looks like a matte. Like, you can see that shimmery shine on my finger. And I don't know. I just feel like on the hand, you don't see that. And the very last shade here is Comedy, which is probably my favorite of the 3. And now, again, we got a swatch of it. Fantastic. But it looks nothing like what's on my finger. And, like, I can see the tiny bits of glitter on my hand. I can. But so does that mean when I put this on the eye, somebody's going to have to be right here in my face to see these tiny specks of glitter? Because, like, that's not what I want. I want that on my eyes. And that's not what you get from this. And to me, like, that's so unfortunate. So, I don't think that that really helped. I'm probably going to dig these shades out because I just don't think they're worth keeping in the palette. I do like the mattes, so I will keep them. I don't think these pans are magnetic. Let me try really fast. Because if the pans are magnetic, honestly, I would much rather just put these mattes into a magnetic palette than dig out the shimmers. Nope, they're not magnetic. Love to see it. So I would have to dig out the shimmers. So I would say that this side, these are a bust. Now what I didn't film, and I'm so sorry I didn't film it, the Death side, I also repressed the shimmers. But with this side, I used a mixing medium instead of alcohol. I wanted to see if there would be a difference in using a mixing medium versus using alcohol. I will say, this was much harder to repress that way. The alcohol, it was super easy to do. This was god-awful to do, and so I wish I would have recorded it. But again, these look better just looking at them. So the first shade here we have is Moors, which is the gold. And now, like, that is beautiful. Like, on one swatch, that is so pretty. And these feel now kind of like a Super Shock. Like, that's gorgeous. 2 swatches, we're done. That one's beautiful. The next one we have is Juliet, which, was this more like satiny shade to begin with? This one was so hard to repress, and I think it's because it was a different formula than the other shimmers. So there's 2 swatches. And I think that that one's beautiful. And last but not least, my favorite shade, we have Tragedy. I don't even think that needs a second swatch. That's gorgeous. So I'm debating on trying to repress this side for a second time with mixing medium instead, just to see if that will fix them. To be fair, the shimmers on the Death side were better to begin with. In my original review of this palette, I fully agreed that I thought the shimmers on the Death side of the palette were just better. They were still slightly hard pressed, but overall they were better than the Love side by tenfold. So I don't know if repressing these with a mixing medium will help, but is it worth a try? Because I do like them, and then I won't have 3 pans missing. Might be, because, you know. But to be fair, I could always glue, if I were to remove these pans, I could always glue in my own pinky red 3 shimmers. So I think I'm going to try it. I will probably just put it in a pinned comment if it worked or if I dug them out, because I just don't see a point in prolonging this video any further than I already have. Because, like, either I dig them out or I don't. Like, that's really all that's left. But I will be keeping the shimmers on the Death side, and that makes me so excited because I love this side of the palette so much. I honestly wish they would have broken these in half and sold them as 9 pans, because I would have just bought this side. I don't think I would have bought this side because I have pinks and reds. Like, it might have tempted me because of the red, because I'm a sucker for reds. I really am, because it's hard to formulate good reds. But that is going to do it for the video. Like I said, I'll leave in a pinned comment what I end up doing with these shimmers. But that is the end of the saga for now. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!